What's up developers, it's Dari here and welcome back to a new video where we're going to continue on with the 10th episode of our FilamentPHP video series where we're going to define all the relationships we have inside our application. Now we do have quite some relationships, so I think that it would be best to once again start at the top of our resources and move our way down. So right here you will see that we have to start with the products resource. So let's navigate back to PHP Storm. Let's close off all the tabs that we have open. Let's open the product resource. And let's also open the product model. Alright, let me make the sidebar a little bit smaller. Now we have already defined one relationship right here, which is the easiest one, which is the relationship to the brand model, which is a belongs to relationship, where one product belongs to one brand. We have done that right inside of our product resource. Let me show it to you. Where is it? Right here. Where we have set that it needs to show a select component for the column brand_ID, where we have changed the relationship method, where the relationship name is brand, as you could see right here, and it needs to output the name of the brand. Now the second relationship that we have is the categories relationship, which is a BelongsToMany relationship with a category model. Now this needs to be defined in almost the same way as with the brands relationship. So let's open our product resource again, and right below our select component, we're going to create another select component where we're going to name it categories. We're going to chain the relationship method on it as well, where the relationship name is categories, and the name column needs to be shown to the user. We're not done yet, because we're going to chain another method to it, which is named multiple, which allows the user to select multiple options from a list. We're almost done, because we're going to chain one more method to it, which is the required method, and let's actually add it on the brand ID as well. Now this should do the trick for us. Let's navigate back to the browser. Before we create a product, let's quickly create two categories. So we have a hosting category. Let's create a cloud hosting. The description is cloud hosting as well. It is visible and the parent is hosting. Let's click on create and create another. And let's name this one web hosting. And the description as well. It is visible and the parent is hosting again. Let's click on create. Go to our categories overview, where you will see that we have one parent category named hosting and two child categories, which is cloud hosting and web hosting. Alright, now let's create on products, because we're going to create a new product. Well, let's name it web hosting. The description is web hosting as well. It is visible, it is featured, it is available from today. The SKU is 1. The price is 1 and the quantity is 1 as well. It doesn't really matter. The type is downloadable. I have just added the image. We're going to select a brand of hostinger, and we're going to add two categories. Let's say web and let's say hosting, which is the hosting parent category. If we click on create, you'll see that we run into a small error. So let's navigate back to PHP Storm. Now let's actually remove the with timestamps method that we have added right here. No idea why we did. Now let's refresh it. Let's actually see if the product has been created. It has. Let's delete it for a moment. Let's click on new product. Let's name it web hosting again. Same description. It is visible. It is featured. The SKU 1, price 1, quantity 1. I've just added the image. The brand is hostinger. The category is web hosting, and let's say hosting. Alright, now let's click on create, and well, let's first create a type. Click on create. As you can see, we've been prompted with a message saying that our row has been created. If we click on products, open our web hosting product, scroll down, you will see two categories, hosting and web hosting. Let's navigate back to PHP Storm for a moment. Let's open our database client and let's open the category_product table, where right here you will see that two rows have been inserted with the product ID of the product that we just created and the two categories we selected. Alright, let's move on to our second resource, which is the brand resource. Now let me close off all the tabs that we have. Let me open the brand resource, and let me also open the brand.php model. Right inside of our model, you will see that we have one relationship, which is a HasMany relationship with a products model. Now let's think about it for a moment. Whenever you have a new brand, you want to somehow show the products right below the edit page, or even better, have the option to create a new product directly from a specific brand. So let me show it to you right here. Let's click on brands. So let's say that we have a Hostinger brand, but right at the bottom, we want to show the associated products with it. In FilamentPHP, this needs to be configured through a feature we haven't covered yet, named Relation Managers. Relation Managers in FilamentPHP are a way to manage relationships between models. They are useful because they allow you to easily define and manage complex relationships between models without having to write a lot of custom code. Now, whenever you want to create a relation manager, you need to navigate to the CLI, because right here we're going to perform the PHP artisan make filament -relation -manager, where we need to pass in 3 arguments. The first one is the name of the resource class for the parent model, which in our case will be the brand resource. Then we need to add the name of the relationship that you want to manage, which is products. And we need to add the name of the attribute that will be used to identify the product, which will be name. Now, once we hit enter, you'll see that our products relation manager has been created. So let's navigate back to PHP-Storm. And since we're already inside our brand resource right here, let's register the relation manager, and let's do that right at the bottom, where you will find a getRelations method, which returns an array of relation managers for the resource. Now, the relation manager can be found inside the brand resource directory because we just specified that, where you will find a relation managers directory with a products relation manager class inside of it. Before we open it, let's quickly register it first. So right here, let's say products relation manager class. All right, if we navigate to the browser and refresh the edit of our brand, scroll to the bottom, you will see that right below the form, we have added a table which will show all products that are related to the brand that we have selected. Pretty cool, isn't it? We even have the option to create a product right here, which will be directly associated to the brand. And once you click on it, you will see that it will open a new modal where you could create a new product. We haven't defined the fields right here, which we will do in a bit. But for now, let's cancel it, because we also have the option to edit a product, which will open the same modal. And we can even delete an associated product, all in the same page. Now let's navigate back to PHP-Storm and let's open the products relation manager, where you will find a pretty familiar class. We have a method called form, which will obviously show the form that you will see right here. And if we scroll down, you'll see a table method, which is the table that is visible right below the form. It has one property inside of it right at the top, right here, called relationship, which is the relationship that is needed to make it work, which obviously refers to the products relationship inside the brand model. So let's start off inside the table method. And I honestly don't want to define the columns myself again, so let's delete it. Let's open the products resource, scroll to the bottom, and let's copy all the columns that we have defined right here, because we're basically going to show the same exact product, right? Paste it right here, navigate back to Google Chrome and refresh it. And right here, you will see that we can edit our brand, but we could also show the same table that we have on the products resource. Now, the one thing that's bothering me are the actions, so I want to group it. So let's navigate back to PHP-Storm. And you can basically see that it has the same methods as the actual product resource. So let's copy the two actions that we have. Let's say action group, make, pass in an array, paste in the two actions that we have. Let's navigate back, refresh it. Right here, you will see that we have grouped the two actions that we have. Now let's continue on with the form builder. And since we're showing a modal and our product's form builder has tons of fields, we can't fit them all inside the modal because it will look quite ugly. I do have a pretty cool solution for that. Well, actually not me, but FilamentPHP. And that's the usage of tabs, which is a way to group related form fields into separate sections within a form. They can be useful to organize large forms into more manageable chunks and make it easier for users to find the fields who they need. So let's define it. Well, let's get rid of the form text input. We're going to call the tabs component, pull it in, call the make method, pass in a name of, let's say, products. And then we're going to change the tabs method to it, where right here, we're going to pass in another array where we have one single tab. Now the tab has a name of information. Let's change the schema method to it. All right. Then right outside of our tab, we're going to add a comma because we're going to create a second tab with the name of pricing and inventory. Well, let's change the schema method to it again. Pass in an array, create a third tab, which will be named additional information. And let's change the schema methods to it. That's it. Well, let's navigate back to Google Chrome. Let's refresh the page. Let's click on new product. But right here, you will see that we have 3 tabs where we can choose from. To fix the styling, we need to navigate back to PHP Storm, and right on our tabs, we're gonna change the column span full method. Let's test it out one more time. And right here, you will see that we have a full width with 3 different tabs. So let's define the fields inside of it. Well, I don't want to define the fields myself again, since it will be the same as the product resource, but just in a different order. So I want to copy them from the product's resource. Let's navigate back to PHP Storm. Let's open our product resource and scroll to the form method, where right here, we're gonna copy the text input name, the slug, and the description. Inside our product resource, we're gonna paste it inside the first tab. All right. And then on our tab, we're gonna change the columns method where it needs to show 2 columns next to each other. If we navigate back to Google Chrome and refresh it, click on new product, you will see that in our first tab, we have the option to add the name, slug, and the description. Now let's do the same thing for our pricing and inventory. So let's open product resource. Well, let's copy the SKU, the pricing, the quantity, and the type. Let's navigate back to our products relation manager. Let's paste it inside the second tab that we have. Let's change the columns method to it, where we need to show 2 columns next to each other. Let's test it out one more time. Click on pricing and inventory, where you will see that we have added our text fields. Now let's navigate back because we need to copy a couple more fields for our additional information tab. We're first gonna add the visibility, it is featured, and the published _at. Paste it inside of it. We're not done yet because we're gonna navigate back to our products resource, where we're gonna copy the brand ID and the category ID. Paste it right below our published _at. And we're almost done because we're gonna open it again. We're gonna scroll up because we still need to add the image. So let's copy it and let's paste it right below our categories field. Now on our tab, we're gonna change the columns method where we're gonna pass in 2. And on our image field, we're gonna change the column span full method. And I think that we're done. Let's navigate back to Google Chrome and refresh it. Let's click on new product. Let's click on additional information. Let's think about it. Do we actually need the brand ID? Well, we're already located on the actual brand, as you could see in the URI. So there's no need to have the brand input field because it will automatically detect which brand is associated to the product we're going to create. So what we could do is navigate back to PHP Storm, delete the brand _ID select field, navigate back to Google Chrome, refresh it, new product, where you will see that we have finished our module. Now let's try to create a new product. Let's say test product. It has a description of test product. The pricing all one. The type is downloadable. The additional information is the visibility. The category is hosting. All right, I think that I made a small mistake because the SKU needs to be unique. So let's say test one. Well, let's click on create. I forgot the type. Click on create, where you will see that we have created a product. It has been shown inside the table right below our brand, where you will see that we have added test product and the brand is equal to Hostinger. Pretty cool, isn't it? Now let's move on with the third resource we have, which is the customer resource. So let's navigate to PHP Storm, or let's close off all the tabs that we have, or let's open the customer.php model, where right here you will see that we don't have any relationships. So we could move on to the order resource. So let's open our order resource and let's say the order.php. All right, where you will see a couple of relationships. Now we have already defined the customer relationship because inside our order resource right here, we have set that the customer ID is coming from the customer relationship because one customer is related to one order. Now let's navigate to the browser for a moment and click on orders. Let's click on new order, where we have created a wizard step. So let's say the customer is Dari, type is completed, and notes is whatever. But on the second wizard step, you will see that we have 3 fields. 2 where the user needs to enter data, so it needs to select a product and a quantity, and 1 that is disabled, which is the unit price. Whenever we select a product, let's do it for a moment, which has a price, the unit price of a selected product should be shown to the user. So let's navigate to PHP Storm and let's start working on that functionality. Well, let's scroll down to our second wizard, which is right here. And let me actually close off the sidebar, where you will see that we have a select field for the product ID. Let's chain another method to it, which is required. Then we're going to use the reactive method. In most PHP applications, forms are only reloaded when they are validated or submitted. With the reactive method, you may allow a form to be reloaded when a field is changed. Then we're going to chain the after state updated, where we're going to execute a callback function when the value of the product underscore ID field changes. So let's say fn, parentheses, we are going to pass in the state, the forms \set, object set, and then we're going to add the arrow notation because on the line below, our set object, the unit price of it, will be equal to the product model, find, where it needs to find the state, which is the product that has been selected. If it can't find one, print out the price, otherwise 0. Now let's navigate back to the browser and test it out. Let's select our customer again, the type, and the notes. If we then select a product, you will see that the unit price of a product has been set based on the product that we have found right here. I made a small mistake in one of the first episodes of this series, and that's adding a total underscore price column on the order. After investigating the database, I think that it is a little bit cleaner to calculate this when the user makes a request for it, rather than whenever the order is being made. So let's quickly navigate to iTerm. Now let's create a migration to delete the total price. Let's say PHP artisan make migration. Let's name it delete underscore total underscore price underscore from the orders table, where we're going to specify the table name, which is orders. All right, well, let's navigate back to PHP Storm. Let's open our sidebar, databases directory, migrations. Now let's open the latest migration, where right here we're going to define our table, where we're going to use the drop : column method where we're going to drop the, what is it? Total underscore price. Now let's navigate back to iTerm and let's run the PHP artisan migrate command, where you will see that our migration has been migrated, but I still want to show the total price to the user. So what we could do is navigating to PHP Storm, opening our order resource, and let's go right below our unit price, where we're going to create a placeholder. The placeholder name will be total underscore price. Well, the field doesn't exist, obviously, so let's label the total price, where we're going to chain the content method to it, where we could basically output whatever we want. So what we're going to do right here is create a callback function, which accepts a get. All right, and we're going to return the get, which will basically get the values from the current row. We're going to get the quantity, which we're going to multiply with the get unit underscore price. All right, now we have 4 columns right now. Let's change the integer inside the columns method to 4. Let's navigate back to Google Chrome, refresh it. Let's select a customer, the type, and the nodes. All right, you'll see that we have a column named total price. So let's select our product, where you will see that the unit price and the total price have been set. There is a small issue right here, because if we up the quantity, you will see that the total price is not updating whenever we change the quantity. And we have covered how we could do this in the previous episode. Remember? To update it whenever the quantity changes, we need to add a live method on our quantity component. So where is it? Right here. Let's chain the live method. And I'm also going to add the dehydrated method to it. Now we need to make one more change, and that's for the unit price right here, because it is disabled. And disabled fields in FilamentPHP will not be submitted into your database because users can eventually change the unit price as well. So let's navigate to the browser, let's refresh it, let's select a type, let's add a random node, let's select a product, let's up the quantity, where you will see that the total price changes as well. Let's add a second item of, let's say, test product, up the quantity as well. Now let's click on create, where you will see that our order has been created. If we click on our orders tab to see the form, you will see that we have forgot to delete the total price column on our form, which is right here. All right, navigate back to Google Chrome and refresh it, where you will see that our order has been submitted into the database. Is there something missing? Well, let's open our orders table, where you will see that the shipping price has been set equal to null. So let's open our order resource for a moment. Let's scroll up right above our type, which is right here, where we're going to create a new text input. The name is shipping underscore price. We're going to chain the label method to it, where the label is shipping costs. We're going to chain the dehydrated method to it. We're going to chain the numeric method to it. And we're also going to chain the required method to it. Now, small change, because we need to delete the column span full on our type. Let's navigate back to Google Chrome. Let's create a new order. The shipping price is 10. The customer is Dari. The type is processing. It has a node. I'm going to choose a random product, where I'm going to add 5 as a quantity, and I'm going to create it. Click on orders, where you will see that we have created our second order. Navigate to PHP Storm, and let's refresh our orders table, where you will see that the shipping price has been inserted as well. Now the final resource with a relationship is the category resource and the category model. So let's close off all tabs. Let's open our, where is it? Category resource and the category.php model. All right, and right here you will see that we have 3 relationships. We have the parent and the child, which I will skip for now, because I want to focus on the products relationship. And for this, I want to create a relationship manager because it has a BelongsToMany relationship. So let's navigate to the CLI. Let's run the PHP artisan make filament-relation-manager command. It is for the category resource. The relationship name is products, and it needs to show the name column. All right, let's navigate back to PHP Storm and let's register the relationship manager inside our category resource somewhere at the bottom, right here, where we're going to call our products relation manager from the category resource relationship. Now let's open our category resource directory, relation managers, product relation manager. Let's scroll to the bottom. Let's copy our actions because we're going to group it inside an action group. Pass in an array and paste the two actions that we have. And we can copy both the table and the form methods from the product relationship manager of the brand resource into the product relationship manager of the category resource, since it's the same exact relationship. So let's copy the product relation manager from the brand resource. Let's say that we want to copy the entire, let's copy the entire form method actually. It's a little bit easier with all the curly braces. Scroll up, paste it inside the form method. All right, scroll down. Then we have our table. Then we have our table columns. Scroll down, which is a little bit easier. So let's copy these. All right, paste it inside the columns method. Navigate back to Google Chrome. Click on categories. Let's click on hosting. Scroll down where you will see the related products. For now, I want to wrap up this video where we have created all the relationships inside our application. There are obviously a couple other relationships and polymorphic relationships as well, but I can't cover them all. This was it for today's video. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.